Good morning and welcome to another video in bright but windy Newark. So today I wanted to have a look at my bike. I mentioned in my last video that I'm kind of gearing my videos towards people that are fairly novice or newly into cycling, possibly in the market for some new gear, for a new bike, and looking for some tips and advice on what things to consider. So I've been riding the bike that I've got at the moment for nearly a year, and in that time I've been able to put it through its paces, so I think I could kind of give good feedback on what works, what doesn't work, what I might consider if I was to buy a new bike, what modifications I might make, and an overall setup cost, just so you've got an idea if you were looking for something fairly decent but for not huge amounts of money, yeah, where to start. So this is the bike in all its glory. This is a Boardman ADV 8.6. So the 8.6 is the 2021 model. ADV stands for adventure, so it's kind of gravel, adventure, bike packing, that kind of bike. Because it's an entry-level bike, it's not got tons of attachment points for bike packing stuff, if that's what you were considering. So you could get some basic stuff on, some mud guards. It's got a couple of points at the front. I did have some issues with when I took the mud guard out off the front initially, the insert fell out of there. But I've still got that and I'll glue that back in. For me, because this is a large frame, but because it's a woman's bike, it is slightly smaller, kind of more compact than the men's frames. It is the right size bike for me, but I'm 5'11", and so I do get a little bit of toe overlap. And when I first bought the bike, I thought that meant that I bought the wrong size, but it doesn't mean that. It just means sometimes, because of how compact the bike is, that when you are turning the handlebars left and right, depending on the position of your feet when you're turning, that you might catch your toes. So that's something I've had to be careful of as well. So I'll give you a quick rundown of the specs, and then I'll tell you the bits that I've kind of added on, and a quick overall kind of costing of that. So the frame itself is aluminium with a carbon fork. Carbon fork's fantastic for taking a lot of vibration out of the road, so it's much more comfortable than the hybrid I had before if you're going over rough terrain. The total cost of the bike new was $750. It runs Shimano Sora brakes, which again are kind of lower end of the spec, and I've got a 2x chain ring at the front, so that means I've got a bigger one and a smaller one. I believe the teeth are 48-32, and on the back the cassette is 1134. So this will be one of the first things that I change. I found that where I'm comfortable riding a lot of the time is sort of probably between the amount of teeth on both those rings. So I find that if I'm in the big ring, which is harder to pedal, I end up needing to be quite high up in the cassette. So that means I've got the kind of big at the front and big at the back, or I'm on the small chain ring at the front and in the small cogs in the cassette. So what that means basically is that you end up cross chaining, so you kind of forwards and backwards, or forwards and backwards, which can cause additional wear on the chain. I apologise in advance, my bike is filthy, and so before I get any comments about how disgusting the chain is, it is ready for a wash. So this is one of the things I'll swap out. I'm going to go one by and just get a chain ring with an amount of teeth that would kind of fall in between the two that I've got, and I'm going to go for a larger cassette in the back, so that I've got the kind of capacity for climbing with a slightly bigger ring than the small one. The other thing that I'll swap out, so I've got Tektro disc brakes. They are cable disc brakes, not hydraulic disc brakes. So basically hydraulic disc brakes are better, they're more expensive, but they're more responsive and they've got more bite. So if you're in the rain or you're doing lots of quite steep descents, with hydraulic brakes you would have more response. So I will be swapping that out. It's not a cheap job because it's you know, you need to kind of change out all the cabling, and yeah, so that's something else that I will be looking at as the second modification. I'm really happy with the frame, so I don't think I'm likely to change the frame at any time soon unless it gets damaged. So they're two of the things that I think will make the biggest difference, is the gearing and the brakes. So other bits that I've got on, It came with a Boardman saddle, which I've changed out because I wanted more comfort. So I've gone for this Bontrager versus Comp, or Comp versus Comp. Versus Comp. Yes, I'll get there in the end. Bontrager Verse Comp. This was £50 from the Sigma Sports website, and that's been fantastic. This cutout can look like it's quite extreme. What I found is because I was getting rubbing and chafing in the genital area, by having this pressure relief channel, it has relieved some of that. So whether you have male parts, female parts, or consider yourself somewhere in between, that might be something that you want to consider. The other thing that I've changed is I've took off the flat pedals that came with the bike, and I've put these Shimano SDP clipless pedals on, so that you can clip in both sides. They were, I bought them so long ago, I'm not sure what they were new. I think I got this set off eBay because I've got 2 pairs. I would imagine you could pick a pair up for somewhere around 35 to 40 quid. Again, you'll need to get the corresponding cleats and the cleat shoes. Cleats I think you can pick up for about 35 quid. If they're the Shimano branded ones, you can get cheaper, but they don't last as long because they wear down. Shoes, again, that's, you know, it's just a case of shopping around. I bought mine years ago, so I can't remember what I paid for them. I don't think they were super expensive in the scheme of things, but so gearing, braking, pedals, saddle, bits that I've added on as well. So I've got a mini pump. It's a universal mini pump, so it does Presta and Schrader valves. I've also got a couple of bottle cages, so if you're doing longer distances, you want to make sure that you're carrying enough liquids, particularly in hotter weather. I've got some mounts here for lights, so I have got some, have a look over here, these lights that I've got. I haven't actually tried them at night yet, but I have, I mean, they're super strong. I think they're around 1,000 lumens, rechargeable, so that's Volcano Eye, sorry. So yeah, this is the rear light for that set. So they're really cool. I think I got an Amazon voucher for that one. I think they were somewhere around 30 quid, something like that, maybe cheaper. I've got a little saddle pack here. So in here I carry a multi-tool, so that's got like Allen keys, screwdriver and stuff like that on. I've also got a chain breaker. In here I've got like puncture repair stuff, so glue, patches. What else? I have got this out front mount for my Wahoo, so that's my GPS navigation thing. This was £15. I think I got that through Amazon. So there's lots of little bits you can start adding on, but I think if you're looking for just basic setup cost, you don't have to go overboard, and you don't have to make modifications until you kind of been riding and start to see where little niggles arise and you know, things that you might fancy changing out. So all in, like I say, the bike itself was £750. I think if you were looking to also buy like a kind of basic puncture repair kit, a pump, a bottle cage or two, and a basic helmet that, you know, that you don't need to withstand like loads of impact for extreme riding, you could probably get that kind of complete setup for about 800 quid. Like I say, it's, you know, it's a fairly decent bike, but it's the entry level of that brand. So I mean, you can get much cheaper bikes elsewhere. You know, I think my hybrid that I had before was about £450, and that was a really solid bike, aluminium frame, quite heavy, but you know, really solid. Didn't ever have any problems with it. The one thing I didn't mention, tyre wise, it came fitted with these, don't know whether you can see very well, they're Schwalbe G1 all round tyres, so they've kind of got evenly spaced knobbles that are all the same kind of length. So in the winter, well, last winter I swapped them out for some Schwalbe, what are they called? I'll put it up on the screen. But yeah, I swapped them out for something harder wearing, so I wasn't getting loads of punctures. I probably will look for something with a wider tread for winter. I mean, the good thing about these is that they are faster rolling on road. I mean, not as fast as slicks or anything like that, but they are pretty decent I'm starting to get some wear down the middle now as well, so they are ready for changing. They are tubeless ready, so that means that, you know, if you buy the kit, you can set them up as tubeless. I haven't done that yet. It is something that I'm looking to do because, again, that might kind of negate the need to change out to different tyres in the autumn and winter, because, you know, if it's just little thorns and things, then they might self-seal if you've got tubeless. But at the moment I'm running tubes, and I haven't had any huge problems with that. I've had some punctures, they're not that difficult to get on and off to change. So yeah, that's it kind of in a nutshell, really. Like I say, I think if I was buying it again, the considerations I would make would be hydraulic disc brakes, you know, and also the kind of gear ratios. I think when I bought this bike out, I was very novice and I didn't really know what I was looking for, other than I thought Boardman was a fairly reliable brand, and it looked attractive to me, and it was within a kind of price range that I thought, because I got it on finance because I couldn't afford to buy it outright, so I thought, you know, I could afford the repayments on this and not be paying it for the rest of my life. So that was kind of my thinking for that. So that's it really for this video. Next video, I think I will look at maybe some clothing, maybe basic maintenance checks and things like that. Just kind of safety stuff, like check it, well, go to that next time. But yeah, if you have any requests or any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.